Hey, welcome back to my channel. I am so happy that you clicked on this video. This is part 2 of the series about Don Wells, the father of missing child Summer Wells. Don's stepfamily spoke out publicly about SA that Don has been accused of when he was 12 years old and his stepsister Jeannie was just 5 years old, the same age Summer was when she was reported missing on June 15th, 2021. Allegedly, the SA happened for 7 years. That's very important to this series. Don was 12 years old when he started the games with his 5-year-old stepsister. He's admitted that they played house and games. Jeannie, Don's stepsister, said that the SA stopped when Don was 19 years old and Jeannie was 12, only because Don was incarcerated for something else. In part 1, I explained all of the details, history, and played clips of Don admitting to the SA and blaming his then 5-year-old victim for initiating the SA. If you haven't watched part 1 yet, you'll definitely want to. Click up here in the corner of your screen or click on the link in the pinned comment and in the description box to watch part 1. I shared a ton of information in that 26-minute video. In part 1, we left off with Daisy asking Don about proof when he made a claim that Jeannie's daughter Trish allegedly made an allegation against him. But Daisy is not asking Don for proof that Trish made the allegation. She's asking, well, I'll let you listen for yourself.
I opened my very first Facebook account, and the very first lie that come out was Trish Nelson saying that I raped her for 7 years. And probably not a lot of people know this, but that was the very first lie. And I had people coming at us left and right, people, and I didn't even, that was the very first lie that come out. She said her for 7 years of her life, which would be my, not even my stepsister, my I don't know.
Right. So
my step niece, I guess.
But did she not have any proof or anything of that? She just...
Well, no,
And there you go. And Daisy said, does she have any proof of that? Like, really, Daisy? I wonder how Daisy would feel if someone asked her for proof of her SA incident that she said that she experienced. What kind of proof would you accept, Daisy? Proof. How about you ask Dawn for proof that Trish even made this allegation instead? Because I went back to the beginning of Summer's case and I looked through my screenshots. I also searched Facebook myself because I fact check where I can and I don't question an SA survivor. But I guess that's where Daisy and I are totally different, huh? So I found this post that Trish Nelson made, and she said the things I have stated are 100% true and accurate, not false allegations or hearsay. I lived in the middle of all of it growing up. One of his victims was SA'd daily from the time she was 4 until she was 12, and it only stopped because he went to prison on unrelated charges. She, as well as others, were too scared to come forward when the abuse originally happened. The things his victims went through are completely heartbreaking and awful. Things no one should ever have to go through, ever. So then she says, I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep up on this post. Is it the oldest son who abused someone from the age of 4? And Trish said, no, Summer's father did. So then she elaborated a little bit more. She said, yes, I do believe he was abusing Summer. I also believe he got back on drugs. I've tried to get confirmation, but my grandma is unsure. However, in March, he came to Utah unannounced and stayed with my grandparents for a couple of months. He brought one of his sons with him, only one, which I found odd. He told us he left his wife, enrolled his son in school and everything. So he fully intended on staying but wouldn't elaborate on anything. He was heavily drinking and stole from my grandparents. My grandpa got in arguments with him over the way he was treating his son, and he left and went back to Tennessee. It was all very bizarre. Summer's father was the one that attempted to sell his 2 older children for drugs. It was 25 to 30 years ago when his older children were young. The victims did try to come forward, and they were told that it was too late. The police on Summer's case were notified as well. So there you go. There's what I found that Trish Nelson said. So if Dawn has proof that Trish said anything other than that, I would love for him to show us that proof. You're about to hear what he said happened to all of it, though. Let's listen to some more.
We started, probably fighting that a little bit back then, and then they just completely dropped all that and made them videos disappear and everything, and then come with all these other what you hear today, which is some truth, a lot of stretched truth, and a whole hell of a lot of lies, all combined to destroy me. And my character, my good nature, and everything else. And try, and I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to say that I'm this horrible monster, and I've done this to my own kids. I'm trying to say it about my wife.
And we'd all rinse off together real quick. Mom be waiting out.
It's really wrong, but they don't want to talk about their own lives or what they've been through, or they protect all the things that they've done in their life.
like they want
Of course, they want to portray themselves as angels, and narcissistic behavior. It makes them feel better about talking about other people. And right now, tag I'm it, I guess, because someone took my daughter instead of supporting us in any way.
Jeannie and Mary could be in prison for the worst possible crimes ever. That will never, ever change what Dawn did to a 5-year-old baby. Never. Good nature. And why in the hell would they want to support you and Candace? They know the real you, the real Donnie Wells. You may have pulled on heartstrings of people on YouTube who have big hearts, but the majority of us aren't fooled, you fool. You've had a lifetime of practice manipulating people. That's all you've done your whole life. I give you credit, too. You've mastered your manipulation game. I find myself listening to you talk, and I almost feel sorry for you. Almost. It amazes me how well you and Candace can lie so damn easy. You'll lie about anything if you think it'll make you look better or innocent or like a victim. But go ahead and keep pointing your dirty hands at others. It will never change what you have done. And stop expecting pity from your own survivors. You're fucking sick.
And a lot of this stemmed from, there was a lot of kids in the step family. And everybody was trying to sway my dad, and it was about money and power. Really, honestly, that's what it comes down to. Is who's my dad helped out all the kids, all he could with what money he had, and that's what it really boiled down to. I think is the help and the privilege and stuff like that. It's when you got that many kids, there's going to be fights or whatever. I don't know how to say it. I'm trying to think about how to say it, but it's just and I don't really want to talk about all this stuff or anything, but
He doesn't really want to talk about it, but he's been saying that Jeannie and Mary just want his dad's money, and they're mad that he's getting the house since he finally admitted that he played house with Jeannie. At first, Don lied and denied till he was blue in the face. He finally admitted to parts of it, but not without playing the blame game. Mary tried to clear up this doing it for the money bullshit when she was on panel with Teresa back in August of 2021. So let's listen to these details all about the money that Jeannie and Mary are thinking that they're getting.
What do you think of the comment that he made about everybody wanting the inheritance?
Right. Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about that too. When he made that comment, I just started laughing because, for one thing, the will has been made out this was 5-10 years ago, okay? When they made out their last will. And I asked my mom about it a couple of years ago, and I said, so what happens with the house and everything? And she said, well, the house is to be sold and all the bills are to be paid off, and if there's anything left, it's to be divided between all the kids, which is 6 kids of my mom's and 3 kids of my dad, so that's 9 kids. And I don't know where Donnie got it saying that my dad is leaving him the house and all the money, because for one thing, my older brother, has power of attorney over my mom and dad and all their finances.
What?
And they had taken out, they had refinanced the house. They've done a reverse mortgage loan on the house. And I think they owe $60,000-$80,000 on that. So when they end up dying, that's going to have to be repaid back. And then also the house is in such disarray. It's just falling apart. Probably when they die, I'm guessing the house is probably going to end up being bulldozed down, to tell you the truth. And so I don't know where Donnie even got that my dad's leaving him the house. I just laughed about that, so.
Well, hopefully that clears that up. When both parents pass away, the will says that the house is to be sold and pay the bills and the $68,000 loan that they still have. And then any leftovers are to be split between 9 kids. 9! So what money will Jeannie and Mary be getting by telling what Don did to them? And Don admitted to part of it. Don, you make no sense. You're a damn fool. Let's keep listening to this fool some more.
And I don't want to bring up the past and try to destroy people and this and that. But these people love that. They love that. They love to destroy people. They love to hate. And so I have to fight back. They're destroying my family. They're destroying what my kids know about me and believe about me, what my boys think of me. They're destroying that image.
I want you to pay really close attention to how Don says he doesn't want to say anything bad about anyone, but notice that's all he does. He claims he's just fighting back. What you're about to hear says way different. When I fight back, I share facts. I don't try to make someone look worse because they shared their truth. But Don, poor Donnie, is just always the innocent victim. Always. Right? Only in Don's mind. As for him saying that they're destroying what his boys think of him, that's all on him. Nobody forced him to be a career criminal. Nobody forced him to be a predator. Nobody forced him to do drugs or drink. Don did all of that all on his own. Don chose his life. So if his boys see him differently, what's done in the dark? Well, you know the rest of that, right, Don? Since you only associate with the good church people and all.
They're destroying our chances of ever having a life. I don't know how many jobs I've lost because of this.
I know.
And it's ridiculous.
I know. And it just continues on. It's just like, instead of, focusing on Summer's case, they're bringing it out more and more just to be able to attack you and bring you down.
I know you're probably like, just let it play. Dang. But I have to pause here and say this real quick, and then I'll let it play further because we're about to hear Don share his side. But I want to say this right here. Listening to Daisy agree and encourage this bullshit Don is spewing is gross. She can't really be this ignorant, right? She can't really believe that we're all just bullies and we want to ruin this perfect fairy tale life that Don is portraying that he and Candace built, right? I completely understand giving somebody a chance, but come on. She said, quote, instead of focusing on Summer's case, they're bringing it out more and more just to attack you and bring you down, end quote. That little piece of misinformation is what made me hit the pause button. That has to be the most ignorant thing that Daisy has said so far, right under asking an SA survivor for proof of their SA. Let me break this down right quick for Daisy. What Jeannie and Mary shared about what Don did to them and what Rhonda shared about the night that changed her whole entire life is all very relevant to Summer's case. I'm so sick of hearing people say that it's not. There's a huge reason why pedos are the only people who must register on a list that is open to the whole public. If Dawn would have been turned in back when Jeannie tried to tell her parents when she was only 12 years old after enduring 7 long years of hell, Dawn would be a registered SO. But as Dawn's father has done his whole life, he protected his only biological son and refused to press charges. All the registered SOs around the Wells house were all questioned when Summer was reported missing, right? But what about the admitted SO that Summer slept next to each and every night of her 5 short years of life? And Candace has said, Dawn sleeps naked. When they were in Arkansas staying at the hotel and the police showed up, Candace told them, hang on, because she had to go wake Dawn up because he sleeps naked. He admitted that he showered with his 5-year-old daughter. He slept naked next to her every night. And we've all seen the multiple pictures of Summer holding herself, right? So stop saying that these people aren't focused on Summer's case and that they're sharing their truths to hurt poor innocent victim Donnie. Just stop it. But Daisy has shown how new and ignorant she is with Summer's case in this one stream alone, in my opinion. Okay, now we can get back to this pity party of horrid, slanderous lies. Let's roll it.
But you've not told your side of the story because you have integrity and you feel like, they're more innocent at all.
Like I said, I don't really want to attack, but
No.
the thing of it is, a lot of us kids were in a situation where we really couldn't finish school. A lot of us, I quit school at a very young age. I got my first job at $2 an hour washing dishes in a restaurant because I didn't have nothing. I felt like I had to support myself the best I could, and I thought that was the right thing to do. But I didn't have I didn't have nobody helping me with my schoolwork and drilling me, saying, "Look, you need to." I had nobody help me at all, and I was way behind in school. There's no way I could catch up, and so I thought the right thing to do was drop out and get a job.
We've
And
all had that, you know,
right, yeah, everybody goes through this
you
kind of
don't
thing.
have a lot of guidance at home and people to lead you in the right direction, or if you're living in constant chaos and you don't
Yeah.
know what a normal life is, you know.
Well, I'm not trying to be mean or anything. I don't want to. Wait, all of us, we're in a rough situation. There's a lot of kids together and a lot of games being played, mental in every way. My sisters, my real sisters, are very hurt. Especially my youngest sister. She's is hurt so bad because she was just shoved to the sidelines. She didn't get any help in school. She didn't get any help in any way. Did she get any help? She went through pure hell, and she is so hurt still today. She can't hardly talk about it. She'll just break down and start crying. She was just completely forgotten about and run over by you know I'm not trying. I don't want to come out here and put people down. I don't want to put down my stepsisters, but they're forcing my hand. They're forcing me to fight back. I'm not going to allow them to tear me and my wife's good nature apart. When we love our kids, we have a good family, we loved each other very much, and this is just complete nonsense. It's
So many
not.
things have been twisted
It's
around.
it's not our fault someone creeped up here and stole our daughter. That's not our fault,
No, it's
and
not.
I'm not going to allow them to put that on us.
No,
Um,
I don't blame you, Don.
As Don speaks about his own childhood, I feel that he's actually being sincere. Just this part. He says that he dropped out of school to work, and I see that being true, but his reasons he's giving I don't believe. I'm going to pull in my psychic abilities here. I see Don being a total rebel type and not doing what his parents wanted him to do. It wasn't that he didn't have guidance and expectations, because I believe he did. I see Don dropping out of school and getting that $2 an hour job doing dishes so that he'd have his own drug and alcohol money. He wanted to have fun in the 70s and early 80s. Obviously, he was a rebel, considering he was arrested at 19, and I believe it had something to do with robbing a bank or something. Maybe, allegedly. He wanted that easy money. I'm sure it was difficult to help 9 kids focus on their schoolwork, and Don was the oldest of his biological siblings, if I remember correctly, but he did have older step-siblings. Don and Mary were 1 month apart in age, and they were both 10 years old when Don's dad and Mary's mom were married. The SA began when Don was 12 and Jeannie was 5, according to Jeannie. I wonder what age Don dropped out of school. Maybe if he would have been doing homework and studying instead of sneaking in Jeannie's room every night or giving rides on his motorbike that he had. But I digress. Editing Mandy here. Make sure that you stay tuned to the very end of this video to see a clip that I found of Mary explaining who Don really was, just as I said right here. I found this clip after I had recorded this entire video, part 2, but it fits with part 2 so well. So I'm going to attach it at the end. Make sure that you watch that. It's scary how spot on I was. Don said and will say multiple times how he doesn't want to be mean, but his hands are tied and he's being forced, or he has to fight back. He said his stepsisters aren't going to ruin he and Candace's good nature, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't get that he and Candace have shown us who they really are. The parts that Jeannie and Mary and Rhonda have shared just help Don and Candace show us who they are even more. Again, I refer back to that call from Candace with Don in the background to Mary that later they called it a prank. There's been so many times that Don and Candace have started talking, and I picture them holding and waving their own big-ass red flag. He brought up, it's not their fault someone crept up and stole their daughter. If anyone believed that, law enforcement would have been the first, and they would have cleared them already. 27 months have flown by, and we have never heard anything from law enforcement about clearing Don or Candace. Sheriff Lawson stated everybody is a suspect or person of interest, however you want to word it. And he also said that the family was not cooperating with law enforcement. I feel like Don wanted this case closed from early on. He also said law enforcement has done everything that they've thought of multiple times.
They're still searching. They're doing everything they can. They're doing every single thing they can. We've tried to, we try to go to them with other leads and stuff. They're like, we've already checked all that out. And, the sex offenders, they've checked all them. Anything that we can cover, they've already covered almost probably every base that they can. we're trying to think and beat our brains out. We've covered everything that we can think of already.
Dawn's been pushing this abduction narrative since the very beginning.
Have you ever seen anyone in the neighborhood that doesn't belong?
Well, there are, people that come through there looking for drugs in the area, and that's probably with any place, but they've checked all them things out too. They've got a hold of everybody. They tracked everybody down that they possibly can. I mean, they've covered all the bases that they can.
Have you noticed anybody suspicious?
No, and and they've done such a good job. They followed every single lead possible. They have tracked down all kinds of people.
It's recent history that's been the case, or not a family member.
Right, absolutely, yes. But we don't associate with all that people. We try to associate with church people and stuff like that, And Summers has got a lot of friends in church. They just love her to death,
When asked about Hope, he says, statistically, blah, blah, blah.
Do you have hope for Summer being found?
Well, I have hope, but statistically speaking, and looking at it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Of course, I'd feel for anybody in that position. I'm sure you would too.
Absolutely.
Any kid that's being tortured or hurt in any way, and missing their parents and their good friends in church and stuff like that, just unimaginable what she's going through.
Yeah.
So the only thing I pray for is for peace for her somehow. I wish she could have got to know Jesus better or something, but she's so young, she don't know what all that stuff means in church, but
I don't think God holds that against children.
Oh no, not at all. I just wish she had peace of mind, that's all.
Yeah. Do you have any hope that this is all going to end well?
Well, I have hope, buddy, but you look at the statistics of it all, we're just hoping that God will turn it around, somehow, some miraculous way, but, we're not solving, but I just, feel that she's not in the area, and they know that, but they still have to search.
Maybe they could find.
They won't give them any information to higher ups, and I can't, I try to help and everything, and I can't do nothing that they ain't doing already, right?
Yeah.
Me and Candace know for a fact that Summer was abducted. We know that.
From day one, law enforcement have maintained that theory is unlikely.
At this time, there is no evidence that she was abducted.
Let's get back to this mess.
But I wanted to bring out one of Mary's lies when she said that I was standing on the corner selling my kids, trying to sell my kids and selling them for drugs. My daughter went on live with White Boy's wife and cleared that up.
Well, I happen to know your daughter loves you very much, Dawn.
Right.
I was talking to Candace in Arkansas. I seen that. Thank you, blind screen Dennis. Thank you so much for that. I seen you went up there and combed her hair for her and everything when she couldn't even comb her own hair. It was good to her and her kids as well.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we've already discussed how kids love their parents unconditionally, even the kids who are abused in every possible way. So Daisy can say how much Margie loves Dawn all day long. I don't doubt that she does. As for Margie going on a panel and saying that never happened, my guess is she probably believes that it didn't happen, since she was only about 6 months old when Mary said it did happen. Let's flash back to September 2021 and listen to what Mary said, since Dawn wants to bring it up again 24 months after Mary shared the story that she lived through herself.
When he ended up, he was trying to sell his son. And because his ex-wife had came in the house, it was late at night. It was like 11 o'clock at night, and she came in. She was crying. She said she just picked up little Donnie off 25th Street in Ogden, and I don't know. But Donnie had taken off with his oldest son, and his ex-wife knew he was going to be down on 25th looking for drugs. And she had to go find him because he had their son, and she found him, and he was standing there on the corner trying to sell his son for drugs or for money. Because he needed to get his fix, he needed money. And that's all that mattered to him. He didn't care, where he got the money, how he got the money, just as long as he got the money. Well, I remember it was me and Jeannie, and I think Trish was there. My mom and dad was there. It was late at night. We were getting ready to go to bed, and she came in and she said she caught Donnie trying to sell little Donnie, and she was crying. She said she didn't know what she was going to do. She said she just left Donnie there, her husband. She said she just left him there and grabbed little Donnie and came directly to my mom's because she didn't know what to do. Yes, yeah, I was there. Yeah. And so, Donnie can say all he wants. I didn't try selling my kids. I didn't try selling my kid. Yes, he did. Unless his wife was lying, I guess she could have been lying, but I don't think she was. Yeah, she had both the kids. Margie was just probably about 6 months old, and little Donnie, I believe, was about 2.
And there you go. 6 months old. I love being able to show clips that show what really happened and what was really said. Next.
A couple things I'd like to bring up, and I realize, we were all kids. My step family, they were a bit older than us kids were on my dad's side. Me and my sisters, we were somewhat younger, and except for my stepsister Jeannie, she was younger than all of us, I guess. But I'd like to bring up some of the things that Mary don't want to talk about. She wants to talk about me on and on and on and keep bringing up new allegations and try to make it seem like I've done all these sick, demented things to my kids. I'd like to say, you know what? My boys have talked with TBI. Do you not think, you idiots, that if I had done something so devious, such a things that these sick morons bring up day after day, because that's all they can think in their sick minds, is all this sicko stuff day after day. That's all they can think up in their head. Really weird. But my boys, I'm sure, talking to specialists with TBI, would have told them if anything like this would have ever happened. And I'd be in jail. I'd be on my way to prison.
Oh, but that, Don, is where you, sir, are so very wrong. And you'll need to make sure that you're subscribed and set your notifications to all so that you can hear exactly how Don Wells is so wrong about this in part 3 of this fun little series. Trust me when I say you will not want to miss part 3, because we're finally getting into all the good parts. Make sure that you smooch the thumbs up, and until next time, I love you bunches.
Donnie started young. 13, 14, 15 years old, he was getting in trouble all the time, constantly. I believe it started out with just robbing little places, like little convenience stores and stuff like that, and trying to get money for drugs. And I don't know if it was the people that he got messed up with, because, back then, we hung out with basically the same people, but then he started hanging out with people we didn't even know, And so he started getting in trouble and just started doing drugs really bad. And for instance, there was one time that he had broke into the veterinary's office just right up the road from my mom and dad's house. And he broke into their cabinet and started shooting up all kinds of dog drugs or animal drugs that I don't even think he even knew what they were. He was just out for drugs, and always coming home with tracks up and down his arms and his legs. And it was really bad. He was always going around to all the houses, everybody he knew. My mom and dad, he robbed them blind numerous times. He went to my brother's house and stole his lawnmower. He tried coming to mine and my ex-husband's house. He tried stealing our lawnmower, but my husband was ready for him because we knew he was going around to everybody's house in the family stealing their lawnmowers and stuff. So we had set up a trap for him one night with mason jars and fishing line. And we put the fishing line all around the bottles and around the lawnmower. So when he came into the underneath, the awning to grab our lawnmower, all the bottles came crashing down. Well, he ended up taking off. So,
if you remember, back in the day, vet offices were big targets because of phencyclidine, which is PCP.
I didn't know that. See, I didn't understand. Oh, see, I didn't understand why he would want to bust into a veterinary's office. I had no clue back then. I was,
Folks. So Mary, you kind of brushed over it, but he was doing armed robberies.
Yes, he was. And that's why he went to jail and stuff and juvenile and everything, because yes, he was. And he actually took, I believe it was a 9mm from my dad's closet and used that. Yes. And then after he used it, he went and pawned it. It was like a $900 gun. And I believe he got $150 out of it. Yeah. So he's been in trouble with the law, quite a bit. And I know that he was shooting up a lot of heroin because I had talked to him about it before, and he was telling me his experiences with it. And he even told me, he said, Mary, the first time I ever did heroin, he said it was like such a nice high, I guess, or whatever, he said after that first time, he had to keep going back, you know. And I was like, wow, that just doing it one time got you hooked? And he's like, yes. He said that it was a very powerful drug because he was always after money, you know. He could never hold a job, and if he did get a job, you know, back then it was only just for like a month or so, because he was always right back into the drugs, you know. And supporting his habit, he would always go around to the family and steal things from us. That's how he would support his habit, you know. And I think my mom and dad kind of turned a blind eye to it for a long time there, because they just knew that it was going to happen as soon as Donnie got out of jail or prison. They knew he was going to steal from them. So after a while, they finally just had to start hiding things and putting things in a vault, you know, so he wouldn't get to them. Because, you know, I mean, he stole their wedding rings. You know, they were on the bathroom sink, and he actually stole their wedding rings. I mean, that's pretty bad into drugs when you have to steal your own mom and dad's wedding rings to get your fix.